Imagine you're looking in a mirror and you don't like what you see. You wouldn't try and change the reflection, that would be crazy. No matter how many times you break the mirror and try and rearrange all the pieces, the reflection is never going to change. You have to change the thing standing in front of the mirror, yourself. Now, what if I told you reality works in exactly the same way? Your physical reality is a reflection of your internal reality. So if you want to change your reality, you need to understand exactly how your internal reality is reflected back to you. My name's Georgia. I have a master's degree in consciousness, spirituality and transpersonal psychology, and in my free time I love to research manifestation and the science behind shifting our reality. Now, in today's video, I'm going to reveal the secret principles governing how our internal reality is reflected back to us to create our physical reality. Once you understand how this works, you can shift into your dream reality simply by working on your internal state. Now, the first principle governing how our reality is reflected back to us is that reality reflects your state of being. It reflects your beliefs. Now, these can be beliefs about who you are. They can also be beliefs about the world in general. For example, if you believe that you're not good enough or that you're unworthy, then that is going to be reflected back to you. You're going to constantly see evidence for why that is true. Not because it is inherently true, but simply because that belief is being reflected back to you. We can look at this from a neuroscientific perspective. We have a system in our brain called the Reticular Activating System, which filters our conscious experience based on what we focus on. If we use the previous example, if you're constantly focusing on the belief that you're not good enough, then your Reticular Activating System is going to filter in information that accords with that belief. So that belief is going to literally be reflected back to you through your perception. Now, the problem is that most of our beliefs come from external sources. So one huge source is our parents. Especially in the first 7 years of our life, our brain is particularly malleable, so we soak up all of their beliefs like a sponge. Now, we also might have adopted beliefs from society. The news, for example, is constantly programming us with fear. And we also might have picked up beliefs from other sources like our friends. Now, these involuntary beliefs that we've picked up are often pessimistic. You might have heard the example that money doesn't grow on trees, for example. That's a belief that a lot of us picked up in our childhood. And so these beliefs do not align with the reality that we actually want to experience. So if you want to change the reflection, your physical reality, then you need to change your belief system. Now, if you want to understand how you can do this, I made an entire video about how you can reprogram your mind. So I'll link that in the description if you want to make a start on shifting your internal state. Now, the second principle we need to understand about how our reality is reflected back to us is that you need to build momentum. Have you ever experienced a lucid dream? If you have, you'll know that the dream reacts to your thoughts and your emotions. What you feel in a dream is very quickly reflected back to you. So if you're in a lucid dream and you start feeling scared and fearful, then the dream can very quickly turn scary. Reality is like a less instant version of a lucid dream. Our beliefs do get reflected back to us, but there is a delay. And thank God, because otherwise all of our weird thoughts would become manifest. Whereas in a lucid dream, it's your thoughts and emotions that get reflected back to you. In reality, those thoughts and emotions have to build up into beliefs, and those beliefs eventually get reflected back to you. We have to understand that the life we're currently experiencing is largely a result of our past beliefs and the momentum built up behind them. Think of the beliefs that you've been perpetuating for years and years. Those beliefs have a lot of momentum behind them. So we have to understand that reality likely won't shift instantly when you start implanting new beliefs. Think of it like pushing a ball. When you exert a force on a ball, that ball is going to roll for a while even without you touching it because of the momentum. And then eventually it's going to slow down as the momentum runs out, and it's going to come to a standstill until a new force is applied to it. It's the same with your reality. You need to let the old momentum run out and build up new momentum before you see any changes. This is crucial because if you don't understand this and you expect to see instant shifts, then you're going to end up giving up before you see any real results. So we have to be consistent with changing our internal state and building up that momentum so that we can eventually see the physical results. Now, the final principle that we need to understand in how our reality is reflected back to us is that content is key. And what I mean by this is the mirror reflects the content of our thoughts and our beliefs, not the nature of them. For example, you might constantly think about the fact that you hate bills. Now, the hate part doesn't matter. In fact, that's actually momentum that you're feeding that thought. What matters is the content of the thought, and that is the bills, and it's that that's going to be reflected back to you. So the key here is when you're focusing on creating a new thought pattern or belief, make sure you're focusing on what you do want and not a negative version of what you don't want. A great way to check that you're doing this correctly is to pay attention to what image pops up in your mind when you think a certain thought. So if we go back to the bills example, if you're thinking about the fact that you hate bills, the image that is likely popping up in your head is one of bills. So we want to reframe that thought so that the image that pops up is one of abundance. So you might want to reframe the thought to something like, I am always attracting money, I am attracting abundance. Here's another example. If you want to experience better health, then the way to get that reflected back to you is to not think thoughts like, I never get ill. Because if you think those kind of thoughts, then what you're probably thinking of, the image that's likely popping up in your head is one of illness. So instead you want to think thoughts like, I am in perfect health, I have an incredible immune system, because the content of those thoughts is health. The images that are likely popping up in your mind are ones of you being healthy. So make sure that when you are shifting your internal state to a new belief system, you are creating beliefs that align with what you do want to experience and not a negative version of what you don't want to experience. You want to be very careful about what you are getting the mirror to reflect back to you. If you apply these principles and you stay consistent, then your reality will have no choice but to shift. It is eventually going to reflect back to you your new state of being. Now, if you want to take action today and start shifting your internal state so that you can experience a new reality, then you can watch this video next in which I explain exactly how to reprogram your mind. I really hope you got value from this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.